Siyanda Sandile Edwana is a South African entrepreneur, technology strategist, and respected music PR guru with more than 13 years in the business. And she's also into technology. Born on the 17th of September 1990 in Duduza Township in Gauteng's East Rand. Siyanda has built a career at the intersection of innovation, communications, and business growth. After completing his matric, he earned a national diploma from the Vaal University of Technology, laying the foundation for a career dedicated to solving complex business challenges through technology. Over the years, he has continually expanded his expertise across digital transformation, product strategy, and business development. In June of this year, Siyanda founded Smart P1ck, a technology-driven company focused on helping African businesses grow through innovation and digital solutions, rather than simply developing websites and mobile applications. Smart P1ck partners with organizations to combine technology, product strategy, and human insight to create solutions that deliver meaningful and lasting impact. Alongside his work in technology, Siyanda has established himself as a trusted music PR guru, helping artists, brands, and entertainment professionals build strong public profiles, secure media exposure, and connect with wider audiences through strategic communications. Siyanda, good evening. Welcome. How are you tonight?
Good evening. Good evening. I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
Not bad. 13 years in the business, eh? Well done. So you are at the intersection of technology, communications, and building strong businesses. What experiences shaped your decision to launch your new product, Smart P1ck, in June of this year?
All right. I mean, two very different passions kind of shaped my career. My love for music led me into PR, and my love for solving problems and computers led me into technology. And I've been fortunate enough to use both passions to create values, where music PR taught me how to understand audiences, build brands, and communicate ideas. And technology on the other side taught me how to analyze problems, develop, practical solutions. And I guess I realized that, with where building something is basically where I strive, right? But then, when something is built, it's not the end all and be all. It still needs a lot more work going forward, which is where the music side and the PR kind of help, where it helps me know how to set up a message and kind of engage with audiences.
Fantastic. They say the two are now intertwined, man. They're almost one, music and technology. So you were born in the East Rand, studied at Vaal University. Technology is something that you know from school. How do you then combine the two backgrounds to become the influential person in the business that you are?
Well, I mean, growing up in the township, you're surrounded by talent, ambition, creativity, and you don't always have access to the exposure that helps you imagine what is possible beyond your immediate environment. So growing up in the township, I listened to hip hop, and hip hop, played an important role in just expanding my perspective through the music, through the stories, through the visuals of international artists, and stuff like that. I became curious about the wider world, and I started seeing both myself and my surroundings a little bit differently, just based on where I was. And obviously going into the Vaal also, kind of opened me up to more of South African people. So, and I got to meet, a lot of different people that think differently, that come from different backgrounds. And working in technology has basically showed me that many small businesses underestimate, their role in digital presence, or what the role digital presence plays in building their credibility. And larger companies typically understand this a little bit more. But then what I want to do, I want to help African SMEs to close that gap by giving them the digital solutions that reflect the quality of what, they already offer, of the work that they already do. They just need, kind of the presentation and expansion in that way.
Yeah, all right. Siyanda, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to continue with this important conversation in just a moment right here on Channel Africa. It's my very special guest tonight on the Power Sit, man who combines music, PR, as well as technology. This right here is Channel Africa. We'll be right back. Expanding the African perspective on a daily basis. This right here is Channel Africa. My very special guest tonight is Siyanda, and we're talking music PR, we're talking business, and of course combining the two to introduce technology to the things that we do on a day-to-day basis. And Siyanda is the founder of Smart P1ck. It does more than build websites and apps. What do you exactly do for your clients, Siyanda?
All right, so basically what we do for our clients is that look at what their product is, what their product offering is, and we'll sit with the clients. And I guess a close example is I'm busy working on a livestock application, for example. So now, typically with a livestock application, that's your cows, sheep, and stuff like that. You can sort of imagine what it would entail. You need to add tracking systems, da 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 da. But then what's important is going into the ground and talking to the people that work in that farm, the people that aren't in management, the people that do the day-to-day work, because that's the people that you want to kind of focus on, and because that's the people that are going to end up using the most of the application. They're going to use the application to do their day-to-day activities. And that's basically what you're trying to do at first. We're trying to build platforms. Yes, we'll build your website, but then, we look at what your business does and what the repetitive kind of things are that you do in your business. And we automate those, and we start small. And, the next thing you know, you have a business that just kind of runs 30% automated. The 70 you can continue. And then from there, you can only just build.
Yeah. So your tagline is Africa's future will be built by African technology. Where is imported technology going wrong as far as you're concerned?
Well, with imported technology, I think the biggest issue is understanding people. Like I mentioned, you can't really build properly without understanding people's culture, their behavior, their environment, their everyday reality. Their everyday realities. An imported solution may assume that every user has stable internet connection, a laptop, a formal address, a credit card, and a bunch of other things. And those assumptions do not always reflect how people interact with technology across Africa. And this doesn't mean that we can't learn from global platforms. We absolutely should. However, we should adapt those lessons into our own context instead of copying something. Should design something that's a custom fit for Africa and Africa's issues and problems.
Do you think at some given time you'll be able to export some of the homegrown solutions into the diaspora?
Yes, definitely. A recent program, an application I worked on for a client in the Netherlands called P1ck. We're basically an accounting foundation where, it's a guy in the Netherlands that I had a relationship with a while ago, and he needed an online course kind of thing for the project management bits that they do there. So we've already started stuff like that. It's live. It's mooc.p1ck.nl. So and people can check it out, and there's course content over there. I mean, it's in Dutch right now, so there's that. But they are working on just producing more of their stuff in kind of other languages, English, Zulu, etc.
Yeah, one of the biggest challenges Africa continues to face is the virtual, as well as the boundaries that have been put in Africa by colonialists. And you're talking about opening up Africa. The African Continental Free Trade Area is now presenting new markets, and digital innovation is going to be a very important playbook for SMEs on the continent. Are we ready for it?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're as ready as we can be. Look, creating online platforms, yes, it takes a little bit of time. It takes, strategy, but once we start, then it becomes easier for me to have an online shop in South Africa and sell someone, something in Botswana. And then, then that it starts introducing all kinds of new interesting problems like, well, how do the logistics now look? Yes, we started as a clothing firm in South Africa, but now we have a delivery all the way over there. And how does that look? And then all the other businesses around that start to grow as well, because over that one business and obviously multiple others like it.
Okay. What kind of appetite do SMEs have for the kind of solutions that you provide? I know you're great at communicating and you love
Mhm.
technology. Do you think they're ready for it? Are they awake to the fact that, solutions that are homegrown are better than imported?
Yeah, I mean, I've been working with some interesting clients recently. There's Mementa, for example. There's a client on mementa.co.za. He, what they basically do is that they convert. When you go to a funeral and you get a funeral program and it's a paper and stuff like that. So what they basically do, they convert that paper into a QR code where people can go to the funeral or event or anything really and scan the QR code and then see the program. One that already saves on paper,
Yeah,
and
okay.
it's just already it's a small thing, but then it saves a lot. And it's something that
Yeah, true.
happens every weekend. So you can imagine the places that use those things every weekend kind of would print typically, I don't know, 2,000 rands worth of paper where they can just use 100 rand and QR code the rest now.
That's very clever. Well done. So Smart P1ck talks about creating meaningful and lasting, impactful solutions. Can you share an example of a problem an African business has faced that you've been able to design in terms of solutions?
Yeah, I think I mentioned Mementa as one of them. The livestock application I can't really speak on right now, but there is a basically a fruit and veg kind of compliance application. What it does is that so with farming on the rise and people basically buying farm land and getting farm land and stuff like that, inheriting, etc. People get stuck with compliance, where now they're able to grow tomatoes or they're able to grow potatoes or whatever the case is, but then they can't get it into the shops because they haven't really tracked how they grew that stuff and bits like that. So, and when you look at, programs like that internationally, they cost first in dollars, in pounds, and they cost an arm and a leg when you're in Africa, sitting here looking out. So one, does that solution is it costs much less money, um, and two, it's it's homegrown. So that means that the data that's sitting there and all the tricks of the trade that we could have is sitting in a South African or an African server and bits like that. So yeah, so I mean, I guess, yeah, as you can see, my mind is all over the place. There are a lot of projects that we've worked on here and there, and I think every project that we work on, because we understand the person that's working with the program and we understand, or we try to understand, the values of the company and how they operate. So every program, from small to big, we are helping an African business and in turn, just helping Africa as a whole overall in a bigger spectrum of things.
Right. See, and the building tech on the African continent brings a lot of challenges, and some of them are skills, infrastructure, energy, funding. Which has been your biggest barrier so far?
Um, yeah, I mean, you say funding, so things like that. It's so I can sit at home or have my team and we can develop something, but then I guess what becomes costly is the server infrastructure, the affordability. Although we try to make it, as affordable as can be for people, but then, many SMEs understand that they need technology, but they cannot always afford a large complex build up front. So, we start you up and then we'll build basically based off of that. And the second is infrastructure, connectivity, electricity, and access to
Mm.
devices, which they don't always have. So, you kind of need to figure out how the gap can be closed with that regard. And I guess third is a skills gap. So like while I was doing my research at some farms, people that work in these farms typically don't know how to, use a
Yeah.
mobile device as well as you would imagine. So, that makes you think about user experience and design and whatnot. So I can't then develop something that is text heavy, that is,
Mm.
word intense. It has to have pictures and stuff like that. It has to make sense, be easy, intuitive. So yeah, yeah, those are basically some of the barriers. But then within the barriers, I guess we try to, do more and close those gaps.
Let's go into an area that you love and understand quite well, music and entertainment, as a PR guru. Do you think that we are moving with the times with the technology surrounding the industry? A lot of artists are not even comfortable with AI yet.
Hmm. Um, yeah, I think, right now in the music industry, we kind of, we're following, if that makes sense. So someone
Mm.
creates and we kind of follow what the status quo is based off of that. But, as the music industry, as should be the most powerful voice in the planet. I mean, that's everything, right? But we haven't really created anything from the music industry, by the music industry, for the music industry. And that is something that we're working on. I've signed a few NDAs. I'm not privy to share too much, but that is something that is still like one of my passions. So even in the technology realm, I am still going to introduce more music kind of centered bits into that. And if yeah, you follow through, if you follow around, then you'll find out what exactly it is it's building, and hopefully it's big enough to reach you where you sit.
Yeah, all right. So, how do you see Smart P1ck contributing to job creation and skills development across the African continent in perhaps the next 5 years, Yanda?
All right, over the next 5 years, I want Smart Pick to create opportunities, for African developers, designers, project managers, product owners, product thinkers, and digital strategists. The goal is basically not to just hire people. We want to give emerging talent practical exposure, to real businesses and challenges. I think that helped me too a lot, just being in a lot of startup companies growing in my career helped. And I've worked for corporates as well, but then the startup companies are where, the smaller companies are where people get seen or where people get promoted more as opposed to a big 1,000 people company where, the main guy doesn't even know you work there. So, I'm trying to recreate something like that for people and, develop as many skills as possible. And as Smart Pick grows, I want to build an African intellectual property,
Mm.
where we actually also own stuff and own ideas and, be able to support internships and mentorships and create pathways for young, talented people who have the ability, but not yet the access to the industry.
Africa is, of course, driven by SMEs, and a lot of SMEs think that technology is both expensive and a luxury. What message do you want to give young people today about digital transformation and that it is the way to go? It's not expensive.
Yeah. Look, um, I believe that you have to invest in yourself. You have to invest in yourself. You have to invest in your company. And yes, do the numbers. Look at what's the best way for you to come in and sort of grow in that industry. So, don't do something that's gonna cost you your company at the end of the day, but then, you know, grow it bit by bit. And what you'll find is that, you know, the more you have strength on your online capabilities, you'll start, because typically a business will start in its community, but then the more stronger you are online, then you have outreach to go further than your community. You start going provincial, you start going national, and even international. So you may look at it as expensive initially, but then when you look at it as an investment and it starts actually bringing in more than what you've put in, then you know you'll kind of see why. And that's basically why, is to expand, is to grow your business, to help you generate more leads. So that, yeah, so don't build a site if it's just going to sit. You build a site, you need to work on it. It needs to be something that, you know, is part of your daily bread. You build an app, you continue to work on it. Consistent updates, just consistently working on it and making it grow. Yeah, the online community loves that, and they will, you know, they will basically show you that they show you that. So Google will rank you number one on that top 10 page if you're doing the right things.
Siyanda, you most definitely got a bright future ahead of you. But for those who are listening out tonight to this interview, what do you think has been the most important lesson you have learned in the last 6 months as you set up a new business and broke into new territories?
Yeah, I think, you know, what I've learned is that you need to fight. You need to fight for what you want. You need to fight for the things that are important to you. You know, starting Smart P1ck for me wasn't just about leaving the 9 to 5 um, kind of place. It was about me growing. It was about me knowing that I can do more than I am doing now. And, you know, it was about me doing something for myself. So, you know, what I've learned is that, yes, be patient, but then, you know, patience is not going to take you all the way. You need to follow through. You need to fight for what you believe in, and you need to be in the right places. And, you know, yeah, showing up, if you're invited, showing up is 70% of the work done. The rest of the 30 you'll handle. But then show up, fight for the things you believe in, and be patient when you need to be.
Siyanda, thank you so very much. Wish you only the best and
No,
continue raising
thank
the
you.
South African flag.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
My guest tonight on the Power Seat, Siyanda. This right here is Channel Africa, and thank you for being part of the action. Time is now 22 minutes till midnight.